Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey, now everybody, welcome to episode 397 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, sending you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the Amazon Prime big release Roadhouse, as well as Nicolas Cage's dream scenario, Dune 2, which is cleaning up at the box office, as well as Ricky Stanicky, a John Cena comedy, and Poor Things, Emma Stone's Oscar-winning performance in that, as well as Spaceman, the Adam Sandler film on Netflix. But really, the important stuff is where the trailers are tonight, I think, and that's with Bad Boys, The Crow, and Don't Tell Mom, the Babysitter's Dead reimagining, all of which are coming to the screen in the next couple months. So lots of stuff to get into, but first, let's do some trivia. I know you got it booted up over there.
All right, we
Are you
got
gonna
some
foil me
trivia.
tonight?
All but one of these characters appear to John Nash in A Beautiful Mind and urge him to murder his wife Alicia, which does not. Oh, I don't even remember that movie that much. A. Charles, B. Marseille, C. Soul. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. D. Parcher? Who the fuck are these people? Did I forget this movie completely?
I didn't even know he figured on threatening his wife, but I'm going to go with Soul.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
Thank you. It was lyrical.
You were correct. I don't even... it's been too long, I guess, since I've seen that movie.
I think I saw it when it came out, and that was the last time I saw it. And I was happy I saw it, but I didn't think it was another reason to watch it.
It's a good movie, I thought, but I don't remember it necessarily. I just don't remember that part. I thought they were all just bugged the hell of him. I know they were trying to kill his wife.
I remember, he was paranoid schizophrenic, but I didn't think he was plotting to kill the people he loved.
Well, hey, they're like, do math. Kill her, get her out of the way. You got to do more math.
It's math shit. Math shit's driving me crazy.
All right, you want another one?
Yeah. Feed me up another
happy?
one. Yeah. No. I need another one. Never happy.
All right. What filmmaker was responsible for the mega flop Ishtar? Oh, well. Warren Beatty, Peter Chelson, Walter Hill, Elaine May.
It's Elaine May.
You sure it wasn't Warren Beatty?
No, it's
Okay.
Elaine May.
I mean, you got it right. We already...
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the bell.
Oh, no, I didn't hear the dinger. Yeah, okay. I didn't hear the bell, Coach. I didn't hear the bell. Like fucking punch drunk over here.
Microphone. Okay, you'll get another one real quick here. All right. When French soldiers refuse to follow through with an attack during World War I, their commander is forced to make an example out of them in this bold anti-war film. A. No Man's Land. B. Paths of Glory. C. Breaker Morant. D. Dishonored.
I think it's Paths of Glory.
What the fuck is Breaker Morant?
Isn't that a Steve McQueen film? I think that's a Peckinpah Steve.
But now that sounds really familiar.
Or no, is that Junior Bonner I'm thinking of? And Breaker is a fucking Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Don't even.
Yeah, well, I mean, fantastic
shit.
is.
I know what the fuck that one is. Yeah, don't worry about that.
That's one step up from the 70s porn.
What the fuck this is? This is a real life person. Okay, well, I want the movie from 1980, directed by Bruce Beresford.
Okay.
Stars Edward Woodward, Jack Thompson, John Waters.
It's probably a great movie that we have no fucking clue about.
I've never even heard of this before.
The name sounds vaguely familiar.
So it's Australian. 3 Australian lieutenants are court-martialed for executing prisoners as a way of deflecting attention from war crimes committed by the superior officers. That's not really... doesn't tell me fucking shit.
Hold on. Let me do a little bit of trivia here as well. I believe Bruce Beresford also directed Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal. Are you on his IMDb? Is that verifiable?
Let's see.
Just 10 years later, I think he was working with Seagal.
I mean, Driving Miss Daisy. Let's see.
Okay,
Mr. Church. That
he
was
definitely
okay.
did not do. He didn't go from Driving Miss Daisy.
Double
to,
Jeopardy.
No, okay,
Everyone
I'm thinking of a
remembers
different.
Double Jeopardy.
I'm thinking of Bruce Malmuth. Excuse me. How dare
Let's
I?
see, Her Alibi. Well,
That probably pretty much take the career.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of old shit here too.
Yeah, that's the wrong director. So I got my own trivia wrong.
Well, yeah.
Oh, not bad though. Not a bad run. We got a lot of movies to talk about. Let's jump into this because I'm excited to talk about a lot of these movies. And
which one do you want to go with?
I want to start off with the one that most people have probably seen at this point, and that's with Roadhouse. This was released last Thursday on Amazon Prime after a long, protracted media battle about getting it to theaters and not. And we even did a part of our last episode or episode before about them releasing this. I thought this was the same weekend that they had released Creed on last year and that they could make some money and recoup some expenses. But you were saying the exposure on streaming, wouldn't hurt it. And regardless of how I feel about the movie, I do think that it's appropriate that it went to streaming. I don't think that this would have fared very well in the marketplace.
It would have looked really bad in the box office. I think this is a streaming movie. It just is.
It's beautifully done in a lot of ways. All the production values are top notch here. I don't think it looks cheap at all. First of all, I like the movie.
What makes it cheap.
I like the movie. I give it a moderate recommendation. I'm not full on with it. I'm not totally negative on it. But what you're getting at is what my problem with the movie is, and that's with that. This didn't need to be a Roadhouse movie because there's not a lot other than the Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine movie. But the story is so everything's underutilized. Everything. Jake Gyllenhaal's underutilized. Conor McGregor is underutilized, right? Just the whole thing feels, I don't know, like they spent too much time on the fights maybe, and those aren't even, they look good, but really as far as choreography, like bringing it into the story, they're really not that great. I mean, the movie overall is just okay.
I liked the humor. I liked that they kept the humor. There's one villain who seems to kind of get away. There's nods that it's a Western. There's little callbacks when the girl's reading the Western book to him, the story. It's about Wade, and that was the name of Sam Elliott's character. And little Easter eggs throughout the movie. Even the shot of McGregor's naked ass, that's a callback to Patrick Swayze in the Moonlight shot. Mm-hmm. But the story took a long time to get going, I felt like. McGregor's introduced way too late. The villains, there's really no hierarchy to the villain. I couldn't tell if McGregor, if the kid was supposed to be afraid of McGregor in the hierarchy of the villains, if the father was going to come in at some point. The father who's off screen is really unnecessary. It has this theme of duplicitous fathers and children that are not listening, with the female character as well and her dad, which was totally useless to the story overall.
Well, these are adults too. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie works best when it's just being lazy in that bar. I wanted more scenes of him. Why doesn't he have like a crew? It's a couple of young kids, but in the other ones there was guys he got rid of. There was dudes. That's right.
There was because training. That one was because in that one he is a bouncer, and this one he is a UFC fighter.
And that's true to his mentality, because in this one he is ready to kick the shit out of people, if not do worse to them. He's actually a cold-blooded murderer in a lot of these scenes, and it's the connection to the UFC where he's on the boat having these dreams about this fight goes nowhere. That's just you're
all the flashbacks. You mean?
Yeah, you're pandering to the UFC crowd
though.
Just to get him.
But isn't that his character, that he went too far in the ring, so now he's trying to control himself by kicking the shit out of people for a living?
Do you know what the movie feels ultimately very cheap early on about? And I liked the scene, but I hated that Post Malone was in that opening scene. There's no reason to have him in that scene other than the fact that he's on the soundtrack at that moment, and it's just star baiting to say, hey, we got a name here.
That's how this whole movie felt like. With the way they worked in the UFC, everything felt like just felt like a monetary gain for like the art just suffers in this movie to the point where it's just almost non-existent, and I hate to say that, but there's a lot of talk about Conor McGregor being a really bad actor in this.
I don't think so.
Surprisingly. Yeah, they don't give him anything to do. Right? That's the problem. I I don't know how you could judge Conor McGregor as an actor based on this role. I think he does exactly what's asked of him.
Exactly right.
100% perfectly. So, but I understand that people aren't going to like this performance, but you don't like the character. You don't like what the movie did, right? And I think that's, again, he's underutilized. It's unfair to him, really, to even bring him in here. This is just a stupid part. It requires nothing. He just has to act crazy. You know, he's Dante without the enchanté, you know. It's a ridiculous character, I think. And they really should have had him in here from the get-go or way sooner so he and Gyllenhaal could butt heads, like, in a more organic way, something that would build them up rather than just kind of all of a sudden the Tasmanian devil just rolls in. And the idea, obviously, of the McGregor character, as we were just discussing, the Dalton character here is trying to keep the devil inside of him, and here's the Tasmanian devil. It's just all out there, you know. That's the Conor McGregor character, and these two guys butt heads, but it doesn't really amount to anything, right? Especially story-wise. But I even thought that the end fight between these guys was kind of weak, in my opinion.
It not only was it weak, there was that odd and I thought funny line when he says, "Who taught you shapes?" You know, on the boat, where you're like, well,
yeah.
you're deflating the whole. We're getting into the point of like, this is it action comedy, or is this supposed to be an action movie that has a couple funny lines in it? Because the original skated that. I mean, they were great at doing that in the 80s, right? With Tango and Cash and Roadhouse and all sorts of movies where they had a zinger here and there, but it really was an action movie, and it didn't deflate what was going on in the story so much, at least not for me, whereas here it did. And Gyllenhaal, like you said, is very underused. I loved how they introduced the McGregor character. I thought that was hilarious. Him jumping out the window and the husband mad at him and stealing the clothes. I liked that whole idea because it reminded me of the Joker, like you said. He sets a town on fire, and now I'm coming for you.
Yeah, he even kills the boss's kid.
Right. That movie. Very Western-esque, though, too, as well. You know, I'm coming into town, uncontrollable gunslinger, here to fight the baddest dude on the block. There's no philosophy behind this movie. It just exists. I like Gyllenhaal, but I didn't like his character. I thought his character was a bit of a shithead. Outside of where's the hospital and driving them, he had these flashes where you felt like it was a second draft rewrite where they said, we got to make him more likable. He's going to drive the guys to the hospital after he fucks him up. He's going to do this a little bit. He's going to, you know, the recurring theme of how far it is. Well, I liked those touches, but I didn't like when he just is going on, he becomes, you know, Steven Seagal, for lack of a better term. Really, that's what it was kind of like. It's an old potboiler exploitation film. I wanted to like it a lot more.
It's missing.
It's just okay.
Like the original, obviously he's the bouncer. He knows what he has to do. He rolls into town. He gets set up, right? He's got to buy the beater car. He picks a place to stay. He does all these things. He's got to do all this stuff, and then he picks his guys. As you said, he goes through, you know, like the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter. But more than that, you actually kind of like the other bouncers, and the other guys kind of have that, like, they're not really good fighters, but he kind of trains them to be, and then they get more confidence and stuff. And that's in this movie, but it's just to a degree that I didn't care in this movie. Like when this movie ends and he's riding off into the sunset, and the other bouncers are like, yeah, but we can take it from here. I'm like, who gives a shit? Couldn't you always? You guys, he literally didn't do anything to. He told the one dude, take a step back. That was it.
Yeah, he's got a knife. Take a step back and pop him. Like, come on. That's fucking terrible. But also what the movie is missing, which the original had, is the mentor character. The character to tell Dalton that he's gone too far. Because no one in this movie is telling Dalton he's gone too far, so he keeps going to more extremes.
Right?
Did she actually at one point say, wait, why are you doing this? Because I thought she was employing him and was the whole fucking purpose because of her shitty bar. I mean, this is another thing. If your bar is getting invaded like
love
this...
interest, right? Isn't that what there was two different girls, right?
I'm talking about the bar owner. Was not,
I thought his love interest was like, you shouldn't, I don't know. Fuck.
I mean, she's that's a character that didn't score at all in this movie. And that's somebody who was fairly good, I thought, in the Fast X movie as the sister that they didn't know they had. So she's been in a couple of movies now, but not very, like, everyone's good to look at in this movie. The locations are nice. Some of the fight scenes are well handled, particularly that opening one with the guys where he asks them if they have insurance. But overall, just an okay movie. I don't think I'm even going to give this a rewatch, which all the work that went into it, from the physiques these guys are carrying to the production to all of that, it just seems like a big shoulder shrug, right?
And if only it had not been called Roadhouse, I wouldn't have preconceptions about what this movie should have been, and I probably would have liked it better.
And I hated the fucking title, the stupid title design on this movie. I mean, there were some choices made here where I thought really cheapened it, and I didn't understand why they were made. It just, the CGI fists, did you notice that?
Oh, 100%. Well, the movie's composited, right? The way they shoot this thing. They've been doing this for a little while now. It makes for really meaty like punches and stuff where they basically you punch a bag, right. And then the other guy gets hit by a bag, and they composite those two shots together, and it looks like you're really punching the guy in the face.
Right.
So it looks pretty decent, but you're right. There's a lot of CGI in this movie as well.
Yeah, it became noticeable. It was particularly in that opening fight scene, and I thought, why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing here? And I told you this off air, but this storyline is basically a Scott Adkins movie. It's really pumped up on budget.
It's just such a huge miss. It's I don't know. It's depressing that this is how I feel like for a lot of remakes, like they don't understand what made the original good, and it's weird to me. How can this happen so often?
And I was pumped to see this. I really was looking forward to watching this, and I thought that this is going to be a guilty pleasure of mine come the end of the year, and in the end it just becomes another movie I've seen and most likely we'll forget about, and we'll sit on Prime for a couple weeks. But good for everybody involved for getting paid out, but I'm sure it'll do huge numbers on Prime because it's easy to watch. Compared to what's playing in the theaters right now, I'm glad I didn't go to see this in a movie theater. I'm glad I didn't pay this weekend to see this in a theater in the end, because I'd have been pissed.
Yeah, I would have been really angry if I had been in a theater watching this. I probably would hate it even more.
And it's long, dude. This is almost 2 hours.
Feel it.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not fleet-footed at all. It is long. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next movie we're going to talk about is Nicolas Cage's Dream Scenario. I'll let you go ahead and go first on this one.
Do you like Carl Jung?
Are you Jungian?
Are you Jungian? Because if you're not, don't watch this movie, because that's basically this movie. And I'm done. This movie sucks. I hated it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was not a fan of this movie at all. I don't think it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. It's too hard to take it apart. Actually, I'm still not even sure what the actual point of it is, but the whole idea of the hive mind and all that, I get it, but his journey of subconsciously being able to put his image in people's dreams, and then later on they find out that it's real, that he is actually doing it, and so then they create a device that will let you do that, and then they put advertisements in people's dreams, and then what's the point? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't recommend it either, but I think that this is an odd pairing of like Vanilla Sky meets Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's kind of what I was taking at this. And the thing is, Nicolas Cage's performance is fantastic in this. He's really fucking good in this. Like, I like his character. I like how pathetic he is. Some things didn't go anywhere, like the weird affair or the hand job he's getting or whatever the fuck that was with the young girl that doesn't amount to anything, but there's pictures being taken of him. I thought that was gonna... The movie has a lot of dead ends and dead space in it, but there are some angles that I liked. I like the satirical meeting with the young people that they have to pivot now, and is the meeting with Obama going to happen? And I liked some of those kind of moments, but overall, this was a big so what? I couldn't tell you what the point of this movie was, what the filmmaker was trying to say, and even though for years Cage has been putting in the effort to give performances in shitty movies, this is a notch above that quality-wise, but still it's not a very good movie, and he's giving it his fucking all. And one day he's not, and he's gonna just be shitty in shitty movies, and that's gonna be sad because he deserves at least one good movie left in him. I think this is his best performance in fucking a long time, like really good.
You can definitely unpack this movie, right? I mean, it's Jungian, basically. I have no interest in this anymore. Like, I guess I'm too old to do this kind of shit, you know?
There's not that many mysteries in it. It's not that deep. This isn't Donnie Darko. This isn't, there's not rabbit holes to be found here.
There's certainly layers, and I can go down all this stuff, but I have to ask myself why. Like, thematically, this movie's a mess. Like, I just don't quite understand how this all plays out. Like, obviously, these people don't know each other, right? Even the married couple, even... Nicolas Cage and the wife, they don't know each other, right? And that's part of the movie, right? But there's a hive mind, so everyone's connected. But how could you not know each other if you're all connected? Like, and the closer you are to people, the less you know them. Like, that's why, like, he wasn't showing up in people's that knew him's dreams, right?
So hold on, let me ask you: do you like that they didn't explain initially why he was entering these dreams?
Yeah. I did like
too.
that
Me
stuff.
too. I didn't like that.
I didn't like as it went on, and he specifically even said they even talked about Jungian stuff in it. And when stuff started going like that, I started thinking this doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, there's a scene in the movie where he's flicking light switches, comical, sure, and he's unable to turn off the lights. Right. This is a common thing when you're dreaming and you flick light switches; they don't work. Mm-hmm. But he turns light switches throughout the rest of the movie, and they work. So what does that mean?
So it's not consistent.
So what the fuck does it have to do with anything like this? And I'm not willing for this movie to sit here and really think all that hard on it. You know what I mean? When there's that kind of like weird shit going on where it's just like, I get what you're doing, but like this is way too much. Like, I'm too old for this, man. Like, just you got to like be a little more simple with your themes and stuff, you know.
Can you tell me what the meaning then of the David Byrne suit is, just other than to be quirky?
I'm uncertain. I don't know exactly what that means, but I mean, it's the way that she saw or wanted to see him, right? She wanted to see him like that. He thought it was stupid. He didn't actually want to, like, that seems stupid, right? He didn't want to dress up like that. And so in the end, the whole thing for him to make it right and do everything is to have her see him the way that she wants to, right? And that's what he wants to do. Like, that's the end of the movie, is him. Finally, she sees him, for who she wants him to be. So that's who he wants to be, and he's finally able to do it. That's the only thing.
Well, what
that
about
makes
this whole
sense to me,
subplot about him wanting to be a protector and never becoming the protector? It's unrealized.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why him being unable to have sex with a girl, she and his wife, whatever, suddenly makes makes his subconscious suddenly go violent in the dreams and stuff. Like, there's so much weird stuff that I don't get it, man. It's too. I'm sure you could watch. I'm sure plenty of people have probably already written articles and explanations for this whole fucking movie.
I'm not willing to do that.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I just don't think this movie's good enough. It's not that interesting. I agree with you. The acting's phenomenal. It has its moments, but as a movie, like, it's a slog of a fucking movie.
I did like Michael Cera as the marketing chief. I thought that was a good sequence.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, it had plenty of funny stuff in it. I thought it was humor several times, but it is very slow, and it has a lot of slow moments, and it's just weird. It's almost weird for weirdness sake, and I know that there's a point to it. I know that there is, but it's not coming across.
And once again, Nicolas Cage gives it his all, and just for Cage's performance alone, he's a very sympathetic character who's a rather pathetic character, and I kept wishing that this character was in a different movie, better used.
I don't know how sympathetic he is. He's kind of a piece of shit.
I found him to be, just wanting his life back. And, yeah, it's true.
But he lies constantly. He lies about
human.
Everything.
I like these things about him.
I mean, his wife lies too. That's why they don't know each other, right? But he's particularly like a nasty person. He's not very nice.
Well, he's intellectual, superior intellectual, he thinks, and very bitter.
He doesn't do anything.
But he's a fucking puss at times. He's a pushover in the whole nine. 100%. So.
Yes, I don't know. I don't think he's that likable of a character, but I think that Nicolas Cage acting in the role is very good. So,
yeah. Otherwise,
take that for what you will.
I don't know who could have played something like this. Maybe John Malkovich, but that would have been too on the nose with the Charlie Kaufman-esque.
That's a much better movie, actually.
It is. Okay, tell me about Dune 2. You've seen this. I have not. Was this an IMAX experience for you?
Oh, no. I saw this scope. I saw this with the top and bottom cut off, matted. For anyone that wants to know, Yeah, we're just releasing movies, different aspect ratios. Who gives a fuck? But it's the director's intent, guys.
I hate that. Everyone should see the same thing. I know IMAX is its own thing, but it makes no sense. It's like the Avatar, different versions.
But it was shot for IMAX, right? IMAX is basically square, let's be honest. True IMAX, right, is basically square.
Right.
So why on my rectangular screen do you make it more rectangular? Like, why can't I just see 185? Like, why is it 235 on this? But if I went to a real IMAX screen, is it I'm guessing it's the full, like, it's literally almost a square,
yeah,
right?
It's the top of the frame.
Like, why can't I see that? Or at least a little bit more of it? Like, I don't understand. So whatever the framing is, whatever, this movie feels, and maybe that's part of the reason, but this movie feels shot and collected rather than, artistically framed and pieced together. It just feels like it's just captured. And maybe that's part of the problem with that, But I think this movie, for me, had huge pacing problems. It's boring as shit. I get the idea. I've seen Dune before, obviously. Never read the books. But this is today's Lord of the Rings, and I get it. But also, I'm a pass. I'm good. I'm good on Dune at this point. Like, I don't need to see any more. I don't know if there's anything you want to know about this movie, but I just found it boring. I literally fell asleep a couple times. Not gonna lie. Well, I don't do
the
that.
The analogy to the modern day Lord of the Rings, I love that analogy because it seems to be with the extended running times, the hoopla over it. Talk about people wanting to get mirrored in minutia. Yep. They love that with
this. It's world building.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Lord of the Rings, and so.
But successful, which hasn't been done in quite some time. I mean.
Yeah, I get it, but it's awfully. Like I say, it's just kind of boring. There's not very many settings in this. It's a lot of fucking sand that I'm looking at. I don't really like the characters so much. I don't care about the love story. I don't know. Both of them are about the size of a Hobbit, so it makes sense.
I rewatched the first one. Obviously the 1984 one I talked about on the podcast, but I looked at I tried to get through the first one, and I did like it better than when we had saw it originally, when it had come out on the day and date HBO Max 2 or 3 years ago. So I was respecting it a little bit more because I knew where I had just seen the 84 version. I knew who was represented in the roles originally and who's doing the fill-ins now, and it was kind of fun to see that. And I wasn't so focused on Chalamet and his impishness to me. A friend of mine saw this movie and was telling me how Chalamet takes command of the role now. He's fully grown into the role. Loved how they were doing that internal monologue voice he was doing, and really just raved about it. Said he saw it twice within a week, was blown away.
Yeah, so take my review with a grain of salt because that is a typical review. It's skewing male. But there's quite a bit of females who are liking this as well for the same reasons. Everyone's hitting on the anti-hero thing, which is the point of Dune. Not all heroes are good heroes.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated.
You can't stop people from liking heroes because they're heroes.
Yeah, they're archetypes for
so
a reason.
What are you going to do? Yeah, so he's not actually an anti-hero. So that's the trick with this. Apparently that gets solved in Dune Messiah. Never read the books. Don't know. But all right. Fine. Whatever. I don't care. It's not a point I give a shit about. It's a fake movie. You made it up.
Is this going to be an Oscar contender next year? Is this getting nominated in all the majors?
Probably because I don't think there's a lot of... it's serious, right? It's Christopher Nolan serious. So, yeah. I definitely think this is up for it. I don't think there's a lot of heat on anything else that I can think of that's this monumental. Right? I mean, dare I say, because it is.
This is, it's up there with the Nolans. The Villanueva, anything he does now is considered an achievement and must be, at least he's got...
And I've liked him. He's hit and miss for me.
He is for me, too. A lot of his stuff leaves me very cold. I still want to like Blade Runner 2049, and I can't get through it.
And that's one that I love, but I hate Arrival. And people still are like, Arrival's the greatest. And, like, Sicario's okay.
You know what?
I never saw Prisoners.
Is fantastic. And the one that's really underrated is the Jake Gyllenhaal one called Enemy.
Enemy? Yeah.
Very good. But
so I don't know.
The Arrival I don't
love. But I don't know. I'm a little fearful of us continuing down this Christopher Nolan route. Like, Are we just going to pretend everyone's Christopher Nolan now? We're just making Christopher Nolan movies.
Well, we've been doing this since 2008. I mean, this has been the pattern since Dark Knight.
You know, it's okay when Christopher Nolan does it, to be honest with you, because, you know, that's him. That's the guy. Why is everyone else doing this? Why are we doing this at this point? Like, this movie has, by the way, an interesting thing about this movie, I thought, it's probably fucking why I fell asleep so often. There's no score in this movie. It's just dong,
whoa, cymbals.
Dong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, holy fucking shit, what is this? I couldn't even imagine buying the fucking score on a CD of this thing and listening to it. It is less of a score than the first one, and that's a complaint I had of the first one, but this one, apparently there was like people complained that there was too much score in the first one, and so they did this with the second, and I don't get it. I don't understand this type of thing. It's not for me. Again, maybe I'm too old. I don't know.
I think Hans Zimmer's sticking up Warner Brothers for fucking cash, making it little work as possible. Let's see if I can get rid of this. Wow, it's like one key on the keyboard. I
don't know. I don't really get it. Rebecca Ferguson I thought was really great. You know, the acting's fine. Zendaya's fine. And even Timothy Chalamet is fine in it. They're good. I just don't like the story, you know, to be honest with you. And I like the first Dune a lot better. You know, I don't know. Even the Alan Smithy Dune's better. What do you want?
The 3-hour cut, the TV version. All right, so that's a negative review for Dune 2 from Trevor on that. I'll have to catch it soon here before
just
it hits
watch it on
Max.
Streaming or whatever. I just wait and watch it on streaming.
I'm sure it'll be on there in the next couple of weeks. I mean, things are flying onto streaming now. Speaking of streaming, we have another streaming original film. This one is a Peter Farrelly film, the guy who did Greatest Beer Run, Green Book, part of the crew that did Dumb and Dumber and Something About Mary. Comes back with another, I guess, a return to semi-raunchy comedies with Ricky Stanicky, starring Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, and John Cena. It's about a group of friends who invent an imaginary friend when they're younger to blame all their bullshit on, carry this tradition into their adulthood lives until their significant others want to meet this person, and they hire John Cena, who is an entertainer, I guess you could say, in Las Vegas to become this person. Mm-hmm. This is a movie that works in fits and starts for me, has some very funny lines, particularly from Andrew Santino. I like John Cena in this role. I thought he was going to overplay a couple things, and he skirts the edges. I mean, he's not brilliant, but he's good enough in the role that you like this character. It didn't get too woke for me to where it spoiled the comedy aspects. I thought
Did it get woke?
Well, I just thought with the scene where he's explaining to Cena about the backstory and they were together and Cena wanted, with the one character with his boyfriend and he wanted him to know that this was what was going on. I just thought there was a couple elements in there that were, just a little, the DEI I felt was working a little heavy.
The gay black guy? That's their token friend?
Well, you told me it killed two birds with one stone here when they just one character.
It feels like that. You know, they worked that into the story a lot better than I thought that they would have.
Yeah, because
at least they make a point of making it work.
Yeah, I agree.
Least.
And this movie to me does work. I'm giving it a positive review if it's not coming across. I did like this movie, laughed out loud a few times. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I did not know this was a Peter Farrelly movie. I probably would have watched it right away if I had known that, because I like these comedies, like the Farrelly Brothers comedies. And this really worked. I thought that, Zac Efron was good in it. I liked, as you said, Andrew Santino. I think I don't know what, he's like a soft Bill Burr. I don't know. What would you say about? I like him. How would you describe him? He's just likable.
Perfect. He's just a cocky dick. He's an arront asshole, but it comes off.
But he's likable,
kind of
right?
endearing,
it's not like,
in a weird way.
Bill Burr is like harsh. Like he's like softer. That's the best way I can describe it. And he's a redhead, so hey, there you go. Yeah, and like you say, John Cena, I thought was fucking hysterical in this. Overall, though, the story feels like a streaming story again. Like it doesn't. It's 2 hours fucking long, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like, cut some fucking jokes, bro. Like, they just fucking put everything in this, it felt like. Right? It just felt like an extended cut to me. That's my biggest complaint. The ending as well, like the reversals, and then his girlfriend being a reporter, and she's an ace reporter. I'm a really good reporter. And when she notices when things went wrong, when they said whatever country it was, I don't remember what African country it was, but they made a huge point of that. And so, I don't know, it felt like you were living through, in the writer's room. They're like, wait, and then at the end of the movie, we can have it a reversal here, and then and then his girlfriend can be a reporter, and then and then we can do, it just felt like everything came together in such an inorganic way. Other than that, I thought it was funny, and I liked the movie.
I thought it was clever. I mean, even the beginning with the little kids writing the fake name Ricky Stanicky on the fucking outfit and running off.
That just felt, I don't know, felt small. And not only that, but like the idea of that, it feels like that's been done already.
I feel like this could have been an Adam Sandler vehicle at some point, and it would have been great if Sandler was the guy that they got to do this.
It does feel like this is perhaps an idea that has been sitting around for about 10 years, doesn't it?
10 might be generous, maybe since the mid-'90s. This might have been in the drawer after Something About Mary. They just never pulled it out until now.
Anyhow, I think we're both liking it. John Cena, though, make a real fucking movie, would you? Yeah. Come on, man, I'm dying for a real action movie.
Like let's put that physique to work. Let's get a gun in your hand and kick some ass. And
I get it. You can be funny. I get it, and it's real funny when the muscular guy does silly things. I get it. By the way, the fucking songs he sings, I'm dying.
The outfits, man,
fucking funny.
When they first meet him in Vegas, I think that when Santino tells him off in Vegas, and the fact that he is this lumbering, this muscular dipshit, but he's not physically intimidating to them. I like that.
When he gets into the fight with Efron in the brew, and they slaps him. He's too scared to fight. He doesn't know how. But that plays into the movie where he's not actually trying to fight him. Right? He's trying to get him to say something and record him.
I mean, the whole thing was better than I thought it was going to be. It made me laugh from the jump on numerous times, and for raunchiness and for kind of just overall funniness, I feel like we're getting on the right track again, where comedies can be what they were at one point, which is just massive audience pleasers. And the grosses can speak to that. I mean, these movies weren't blockbusters because nobody was seeing them. I mean, where's Big Mama's House 5? I want to see it. Martin's back.
It's coming up. Yeah, he's back. So that's his next move, right?
All right, well, let's continue on our tradition of talking about the Best Picture nominees, because we've included one on like the last 5 or 6 shows that we've done.
Did we?
And now the Oscars have come and gone. Emma Stone won Best Actress for Poor Things, and we're going to talk about Poor Things here. Go ahead and start off your review.
I get to go first? Okay. This movie, I don't even know, guys. It's a wonderful feminist movie, right? No, it's not. I think this movie is like anti-feminist. I don't understand why people are saying this is a good thing. This movie takes a woman, boils her down to a kid, has her overreact to everything, tells her that the only way she's going to understand and appreciate life is if she becomes a whore. And then only after being a whore for so long, she'll decide she just wants to go back and live a simple life. And then the movie's over. And I'm done.
I think I told you off air. Look, this movie is meticulously detailed in a lot of areas, and I thought that Mark Ruffalo's character and his performance was amusing. His constantly being hurt by this person's very honest actions.
She's as bad as he is, though. Like, everyone's evil in this. Everyone is bad. So there's no. I just don't get it, right? Like, how she's not being taken advantage of by him, but he's being hurt by her. Like, what's the point of it?
What's the point of Defoe's
the life is horrible?
His GERD, and he has to burp up this belch bubble that has this magical quality. It's almost like Tim Burton imagined this film, and then it was rerun through somebody else's filter. And some of the imagery is striking, and Emma Stone gives this role. Her walk in it, I mean, her look, the
acting's great.
Very, very, very good. But honestly, I just saw somebody who I mean, she started to masturbate, and that was pretty much the apex of the movie, right? I mean, after that, it was like that was the high point of her awakening.
Well, what I just said is what the movie is, right? She goes on a voyage, right?
She gets taken.
Should we even talk about?
Is it like Pinocchio, where she gets kidnapped? Basically,
she doesn't get taken. She doesn't get kidnapped. She goes willingly. She says repeatedly every choice that she makes in this movie. See, this is the other thing I don't want to get about this. They talk about her getting agency. That's even kind of said in this movie, but she always has agency. The whole fucking movie. She goes, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to go against the wishes of the people who I know are there to protect me. I'm going to go do this shit instead. She says it constantly. She always makes her own choices, except for the very end of the movie when, I don't want to ruin it for people, but when the other person shows up and she's forced to, actually do so. But again, she goes willingly with that person, right? The whole fucking thing makes no sense to me. I don't get what the point of the movie is.
I saw a lot of Pinocchio with the Geppetto, with the donkeys, and getting taken to Ass Town, and you'll become an ass if you act like this. And I saw a lot of...
She goes to Ass Town, right?
She definitely goes to Ass Town. And, it's not a fearless performance because she's nude and having multiple orgasms on camera. And some of the, dialogue is amusing when she talks about, I did the furious jumping today with so-and-so. And it's like... That is very funny to me in a lot of ways. But Ruffalo is the standout.
Because she's a child?
Ruffalo is the heart of the film. And it is this weird child thing. And everybody is sexually attracted to her except the doctor. And they have to make that very clear. That, I can't.
You mean?
Yeah, because I think of her as parental. And because the guy asks him, are you in a relationship? I thought you were together.
Well, he can't get it up.
Yeah, but it's just, why is he scarred?
Otherwise,
Why is he scarred like this? It's for shock value. It's for, let's be.
Well, because his dad was really mean to him, right? And beat the world into him and everything. And now she's doing the opposite way. I don't know. This is another one like Dream Scenario where there's so much going on. Thematically, it makes no sense. There's too many things being said about this. Like when she sees the babies dying, the poor people, and she flips out and stuff. What does that say about women? They're emotionally like ridiculous. Like she makes poor decisions when she gets emotional like that. Hell, she makes poor decisions when she's logical. It's nothing. And then in the end, she just decides that she's happiest. In the operating room, like when her dad would show her, his operating room because he's a mad scientist.
So she can go back to being a child because she now knows and she wants to revert back to childhood.
I don't know if she's going back to being a child. She's actually doing something, right? She wants to use her brain or something. She's not just being a thing that you stick your wiener in. Even though she decides to do that anyways because the old lady tells her you should do that, and then she goes, oh yeah, okay. And so while she's doing that, that's part of that, right? They figure out she's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And then
first of all, why is this movie so fucking long as well? This is laborious, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Long. Yes. And it feels every bit as long.
I just don't get this shit anymore, I guess. I don't know. This movie's not, I think, that big of a deal, even though it wins Oscars and everything. And nobody fucking watches this thing. I don't think the majority of people who see this are going to like this. It's not a good movie on any level.
It's got good performances, just like Dream Scenario
the
did.
Acting's good.
But
I mean, it's true. Yeah, Willem Dafoe's great in it. The acting is good. But as you say, like, there's weird, even the little things that.
Well, the camera lenses for no reason.
Oh God, I forgot about the
keyhole focus, all that kind of stuff.
All that shit. There's no reason for it, right? The movie feels like it wants to be an independent, experimental thing from the fucking 90s, and it's not. It's not. It's a big budget nonsense movie, and I don't understand the point of it. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit feels like Barbie to me when everyone was like, oh, Barbie's like woke. Oh, Barbie's like based. And then I see this movie and it's like, oh, this movie's totally feminist. And I watch it and I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? This movie is not feminist at all. This movie tells you life's horrible and women are fucking dumb. Like, ugh.
Yeah, and the male characters are not very well.
They're horrible too.
Don't come off very well as well. All right, let's move on. This movie sucked. As far as neither of us liked this, I thought that she was great and Ruffalo was great. I wouldn't even have had a problem if he won Best Supporting Actor. But the movie overall did not enjoy the themes of it or the execution. But a beautiful disaster, in my opinion. All right, Spaceman. I haven't seen this. This is the Netflix Adam Sandler space movie, obviously. And what's going on with this? Is this Solaris or is this Supernova? What do we got?
Well, you've seen the Solaris remake, right?
I loved it, actually. Big fan.
Okay, good. Don't watch Spaceman.
Same thing?
No, but it wants to be. Spaceman is dream scenario and poor things in space. It wants to be this, like it wants to be Solaris, right? It wants to be this Adam Sandler vehicle that shows that he can really act. One of these meaningful things. He's basically a guy on a spaceship. His wife's pregnant, back on Earth, and he's once again running away from their relationship and leaving her, just like a man, right? That would go out and would do something and leave the wife at home. She's like, fucking, I want to leave this dude. I don't want to have this kid on my own. There's a bunch of baggage about this shit. And he's got to deal with his, and he's got to go out, he's got to deal with his shit and get himself right so that he can go back and be the father that he knows he should be. And it's all done slow as fuck. I mean, that's the whole movie.
Sucks.
There's a fucking spider that shows up and goes, "Hi, Spaceman. Let's examine your life." Like, basically, like it's a fucking therapist, right? I mean, the movie's basically like a dude's going to, or possibly even in an insane asylum, and the therapist is like, "Dude, what's wrong with you?
Sound like It's a Wonderful Life.
Suicidal?
Do you want to relive your life, George? What can you do?"
Bro, that's this movie, right? But it's never revealed that that's it or anything. Like, he's trying to go to like some phenomena in space and explore it, and it's like the spider alien thing is like, it's the beginning. It's it's like transcendence.
Bro, I was already out before you brought up the
much.
spider, the outer space spider therapist. This movie sounds fucking ridiculous.
That's the whole movie. So it's very artistic. It's very like, oh, it's so deep. But it's not.
Just like all of these things on here.
I fucking get it. I got it right away. It's so slow, so boring. At least like it makes more like you can understand it, but I'm sure if you want to look deeper into it, there's plenty of shit to see. But it's just God, fucking pointless. Like why does this exist? Why did we waste our time making this? Could have been so much anything else, something different, something with real meaning, something that was perhaps a little funny, something that wasn't just rehashing the same shit over and over and over again.
Do you recommend people watch the remake of Solaris from 2002?
Absolutely. That is a fantastic movie.
I think so,
it's
too.
Haunting. It's beautiful, right? It's emotional. It's meaningful. It's all those things.
It's Event Horizon without the jump scares, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horror, but it's not even thriller. It's like,
it's fantastic.
I don't know, it gets under your skin,
It is. It does. It gets under your skin in the way that really movies that stay with you for months. And I mean, that's a movie we saw 20-something years ago now. And whenever I hear the score, a little snippet of it, it'll play on Spotify sometimes, I immediately start thinking of that movie and go, God, I got to watch that movie again. And I've watched it every couple of years, so I've seen it multiple times now. And it's short enough to where it doesn't get monotonous, whereas Spaceman, it sounds like it's pretty slow from what you're saying.
Spaceman's only an hour and 40 minutes, then.
Okay, not too long then.
But it feels like 2 hours plus. I mean, believe me, it is a fucking slow movie, and you get the gist of it like pretty quickly, and that's the whole movie. It's just that over and over again, so slowly, like without a point, right? Like nothing's actually going on in the movie. We waste time dealing with like mission control, like they can't talk to the guy, but he's not in any danger. He just can't speak to Earth anymore, and he's trying to figure that out. So we waste time on that. The wife wants to break up with him, so they're stopping the transmission to him because they don't want him to know, because he's out there in space on this, in the middle of nowhere. They don't want him to go crazy. They don't want him to try to kill himself. They want to finish the mission. So they got to go out and talk to her. Well, maybe you should wait, It's like, fucking, come on.
Dude,
wrap this bitch up.
Speaking of space movies,
got it.
I watched the other night because it's on our Vudu account, and it looks beautiful in HD, is Apollo 13. I hadn't seen that movie in its entirety since the movie theater, and I didn't intend to watch the whole thing. I watched the whole fucking thing in one sitting. That movie kicks ass. For a space movie, that might be my favorite quote-unquote space movie. Obviously, Star Wars isn't in this, but I'm talking about like Gravity or Apollo, anything that takes place with the space program, I should say, type movie. I fucking love Apollo 13, and it holds up to this day. It was really good.
Yeah. What's like a real movie?
And it's not...
unlike what they're making today. I don't know what these are. These aren't real movies, man.
Oh, Apollo 13 is just simple storytelling. With Ron Howard with simple shots, and it's effective.
You can just go back to like Solaris. You can go back to that. Back to a lot of things. And there's plenty of shit around that period. But, I mean, look at what we're getting today. It's not the same.
It just feels thrown out.
Not comparative story-wise,
Yeah. It's
story-wise, art-wise, direction-wise.
Undercooked in a lot of ways.
I mean, acting-wise, I'll say, is good. Acting's still great across the board. But everything else, not so good.
Things, I hate to say this, but there's a certain unfinished look, unpolished. It doesn't seem to fit like theatrical standards. Does that make sense?
Yes, it all looks like made for TV. It looks like made for streaming. Everything's
the sound design, the cinematography.
I would argue that it's too polished, and that it gets to that point where it's just not, where it doesn't feel big. Like
that was
I've
my
been
problem with
a lot
Freelance.
of comedies.
Remember Freelance a couple weeks ago? We were talking about this. I said it was too fucking clear. I kept saying.
Go back and watch even just comedies, but go back and watch these regular old comedies like Wedding Singer or, Never Been Kissed was one I just watched recently. I'm just watching any old comedies, and the lenses that they choose to shoot with, and the angles and the close-ups, the framings of things, everything feels big. People's fucking faces look huge.
Yeah, movies. That's how movie stars were made.
They're huge. Everything's big. Everything is shot like it's made for the cinema. Like it was just gonna fucking bowl you over. And then I go and look at things nowadays, and everything's small. Everything's tiny because you can see every little detail because you have, everything's 4K. Everything's tiny. Everything's small. There was a transitional period there for a while. I remember when titles used to be big. I have to wear glasses now. And I remember when titles used to be big and I could read all the titles, not because I had to wear glasses, but because they were fucking big. Titles are fucking tiny today. Like fucking smaller than shit.
Are you talking about subtitles?
I hate it. No, I'm talking about goddamn movie titles. Starring who is this in this? What's the name of this movie? Why is it so small? Who does this? Am I this old? I'm sorry, man. I hate this shit. Make it big. You have a whole screen. The whole screen's there for you. Make it big.
Oh, you remember my grandfather who said he wouldn't read any book where the author's name was larger than the title of the book.
There you go.
I'm not reading that shit. Throw it away.
Good rule. Fuck that.
All right, so that's obviously negative on Spaceman, or basically indifferent on Spaceman from Trevor there. Now let's get into the trailer portion of tonight's show, starting off with the freshly released trailer for Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is now Bad Boys 4 officially, and this is a direct sequel to the last one that came out, which is a late...
For Life.
Yeah, Bad Boys for Life, which was surprisingly good. And this trailer...
I liked it too.
I like this trailer. I
got the directors back from the third one, so I'm glad, happy about that, because the shooting at least is consistent now.
It does look consistent, and the humor is back. I saw the Red Band trailer here, so a little bit of cursing in this. I love that they're bringing back the certain characters that we like. It looks like they're going to stay away from that younger team. I mean, I could use...
No, they're in it.
Are they? I didn't see...
100% in it. I saw Vanessa Hudgens.
Did you? I didn't catch that.
And maybe one of the other girls. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see Vanessa Hudgens, but I know she's in this. I know the team's in this because there was a shot of the team getting ready.
Well, Joey Pants is in it, obviously, as their captain, and he cracks me up on his little video speech that he gives there where he's cursing. Did you see the same trailer I saw where he's cursing during that? We might have.
I think I saw the green band.
Okay, I saw the red band, and it where Martin Lawrence is eating the hot dogs and the.
I saw that.
Okay,
part,
and he said, "Give me 2 of those motherfuckers." Correct. Yeah, but I mean, this looks. Look, Will Smith won me over with one movie again. Apparently, I'm back on the train. I'm ready to watch this movie.
Isn't it weird?
I'm ready to forgive for one movie at least.
This movie started and it shows him in the car, and I'm thinking, oh, is this weird or not? And then it goes on for like a second later, and I'm like, no, it's fucking awesome.
Yup.
I'm like, should I be liking this? Why do I like this so much? Oh, this is like a real movie. This is like a big action, real movie. I can't wait to go to the theater and fucking watch this summer.
It does look like we're getting into where we thought Bad Boys 2 was outlandish with the shit they were doing, but here when they're fighting on a Huey helicopter, and it's...
Hey, man, Fast and Furious the fuck out of this.
That's true.
Go
That's
for
what
it.
they're doing basically here. But yeah, June 7th release date. This looks like a big summertime blockbuster. I think this is a big hit. It should be interesting to see what the numbers are and how much of an effect Will Smith had on his own career. But for me, who was a huge Will Smith fan and then just massively disappointed and swore it off, I'm such a bitch because I'm back on the train, it looks like, with one trailer. Fucking brilliant move.
I felt the same way.
Okay, good. I don't feel so bad then. I feel like such a bitch.
I was like, what? It felt weird. I saw his face and I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
He's just going to act like nothing's happened. Does he act like nothing's going to happen? Really? Just act
metaphorically,
like
I'm standing at the door with my hands crossed, like, you ain't coming in this house. And he's like, baby, no, it's cool. And then I'm like, all right, you cool. Come on in.
I was like, all right, one more time. Come on in. I know, basically, yeah. I think a lot of credit, though, to these directors because they definitely add. It felt like they added to the last one, but even to this one, like as far as the Michael Bay style goes, they definitely capture that. But like I say, as you said earlier, I think they add more to it. Like they vamp that up just a little bit more. Like there's some angles from the guns that they have in the trailer and the angle pointing back at them and stuff. That's just like, wow, this is like the camera flying around and flying through the walls and shit, which I'm sure is going to happen.
Yeah, these guys were the directors of that Batgirl film that got shelved too, so I wonder if they had something extra to prove on this project and some things that they had used on that they knew were never going to see the light of day, because it's hard to say Michael Bay ramped up, but that's what this feels like, and I'm obviously a huge Michael Bay fan, so...
There's some different shots in this that I would say if Michael Bay ramped. Michael Bay's been pretty... he's been less Michael Bay than he has in a while, has he not?
Ambulance was pretty amped up,
while.
I felt like.
Was it?
6 Underground was about as Michael Bay as you could fucking get. I mean, that was like ultimate Michael Bay.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't know if they're ultimate Michael Bay. I feel like 90s Michael Bay is a lot more. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
it's because that's before everybody fucking ripped him off, and every commercial and everybody looked like that.
Just too used to it.
Because that CSI style is basically Michael Bay style. I mean, all those NCIS, CSI kind of quick moving camera, cutting on action, all that shit.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Crow reboot with Bill Skarsgård, the guy who played Pennywise the Clown, and It is now in the Brandon Lee role. This is a reboot that has come under much scrutiny because the original director, Alex Poirier, was not a fan of this image that was released. I don't know if he's seen this trailer. Well, it's a Lionsgate release. What can we say about this trailer? Look, I'm not mad they remade this movie because there's plenty of Crow sequels. There's a TV show. This is a world that has been done.
The original is not original, right? It's an adaptation.
Right, of a graphic novel.
So it's okay, that you make this again. I think better to do this than Roadhouse, I'll say that. It makes a lot more sense. But I don't know. The director of this isn't... Rupert Sanders just isn't that good of a director.
He's hit and miss.
What did he hit on?
I liked one of the Planet of the Apes movies. I think it was the James Franco one that he was in, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I thought
he didn't do Planet of the Apes.
I thought Rupert.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did the first one.
Now I have to look at this.
Pretty sure. Didn't he do that? And then The Huntsman, the one with Kristen Stewart.
I don't know. He didn't do Planet of the Apes.
I'm thinking of Rupert Friend.
But yeah, right. Snow White and the Huntsman, the Ghost in the Shell movie, and that Foundation TV show.
Okay. Spotty, but
so it looks good. This is a director for hire.
It looks entertaining. The trailer looks entertaining.
I think you could watch it. I think it'd be fine. But again, it just looks too. I don't know. You should watch. I watched the trailer for the original after this, and you can tell why people are upset. There's a lot missing from this as far as like feeling, the emotional stuff. It just feels so slick. It has that John Wick, like John Wick is the Crow, type of feel to it. It does kind of drain. I don't know, the coolness, the artistry out of stuff. I don't know, a little bit. Like I'm fine with that. Obviously, I like the John Wick movies. I like martial arts stuff. But I don't know. Does everything have to be the same? I don't know. When The Crow came out, that time period, things, as much as they were the same, they were very different. And today, everything feels so singular.
It's homogenized, is what I think what you're trying to say. It looks like it's been run through the
it's extremely commercial.
Deflavorizer machine, if you will, And this looks like,
exactly.
Do you know what it reminds me of? A couple of, like something like Priest. Something that was very slick, mid-tier action film.
A little bit.
That wasn't very memorable, that had, a very lean actor in the lead role who wasn't marketable.
To be fair, that movie could have starred Vin Diesel, so.
Did it really?
Be careful what you say. No, it could have.
Oh, I should have.
I
would.
How would you have known? Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. It could have. It was basically a Vin Diesel movie.
But this
right?
doesn't look terrible. It just, once again, it doesn't look any better or worse than any of the sequels that were produced, and none of those were very good. So that's my problem with it.
Yeah, and this is the real one. This is the reboot. We're starting a new franchise, guaranteed, right? Type of a thing. And I like Bill Skarsgård, but I don't know. He doesn't really look.
He doesn't come off in this role.
He doesn't really fit the role. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. He's a really good actor, but I don't know. I don't really get it, and I don't know. It's too slick for me, to be honest with you. I mean, you're right. I'm fine watching this. I think they put a lot of money, or the right amount of money, into it, I guess. It looks super violent, which is great, but I don't know. This is like an afternoon. This isn't like something that would make my year or make me go, yeah, that was a great movie. This will be an afternoon, and I'm done.
Well, this might be something as bad as Punisher Warzone, for all we know. It's Lionsgate. You never know.
It could be terrible, but it really doesn't look like it. It's not a high bar to meet what the fucking trailer is saying it's going to do.
True.
But you're right. It could be worse than that. But this just feels like it's weird that you can bring up Punisher, because it feels a lot like a Punisher movie, right? He's got to go, and he's going to go get the bad guys in the end. You kind of just know what it is.
And both those Punisher movies were both very slick-looking films as well, and Lionsgate releases.
Yeah.
Okay, last movie on tonight's show is going to be the reimagining of Don't Tell Mom, The Babysitter's Dead. This is a BET Plus original movie getting a wide theatrical release here in April, I guess in 3 weeks coming up. So this is obviously a remake of the cult classic starring Christina Applegate. This time it has been updated. It's an African-American family, and the role reversal here has Nicole Richie playing the executive that the young girl goes to work for. It's a very minor-looking film. I was very surprised that this is getting a wide release.
This is going wide.
And it looks like it's faithful. I mean, they even have the dishes are done line in there. It looks like whoever did this has seen the original and has some sort of care for it. So
you could just start with the original script and start rewriting.
Which, I thought there was a couple lines that were amusing when the lady said, "I've seen the Medina movies. I know how to handle this." So it looks like there might be a bit of wit running through here, but also very, very rudimentary on
Talk about something that looks like it's straight to streaming.
Out of everything we're talking about tonight, this looks made for streaming.
And if you look at Don't Tell Mom, The Babysitter's Dead, the original, it looks like it's cheap as shit. No, it looks like a movie, though.
Compared to this, yeah.
It's filmed like it just looks like a movie. Like, and this just looks like it's something that's going to be on TV. I mean, it looks bad.
It could have been one of those ABC Family Sunday night movies back in the day.
So this would be something that I would imagine most people are just going to stream. And this is going to tank.
Well, I thought I didn't have high expectations for that House Party remake. We're talking about Andrew Santino. He was in that as well as the Nosy Neighbor. And that was very amusing, but that had died a very quick death in theaters and I'm sure reached a lot more people on Max, which this will too. I can't imagine this does any sort of money in the theater because it just looks like a product you would see at home. And for better or worse, they've distilled the market to where we just expect if we're going to be spending this kind of money to go to a theater, to deal with the fucking people in a movie theater, the parking, all of that kind of shit. I want to see something that's worth it. I want to see a Bad Boys, something that looks like they spent buku bucks that's going to blow me away and not something that's going to be minor because it's just too much now.
What would a comedy be?
A comedy that would get me out there? The Fall Guy.
Yeah, but that's cheating. Like a comedy.
I mean, if your Knocked Ups were
Straight
out
comedy.
there, if
Is
your
there a
Wedding Crashers were out
like
there,
this, like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitters that. What would be that? There isn't one, right?
not anything in years. I mean,
the action comedy, I get what you're saying, but that's because you can put money into the action side of it,
yeah,
right?
but I mean, every summer there was the comedy to see. Even in the fall or the winter, there was whether it was Meet the Parents, whether it was Knocked Up.
Obviously, like your Hangovers and all that kind of shit. So, like, where are those now?
I mean, I think that they're coming back now that people are getting away from it. But they tried it even last year with The Machine, and that didn't take off.
That's true, but that one doesn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I don't think that was that good. It's just they just don't have a good. They don't have a comedian actor that's good, that's big enough or good enough right now. They tried it with everyone. I mean, even like Bill Burr is not big enough. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know who the next
movie
is.
Thing. It doesn't
but
work.
They've tried. I mean, throughout. Even in the 90s, they were given like Harlan Williams doing Rocket Man and Carrot Top doing Chairman of the Board.
They tried with everyone,
everybody got a shot to do something, and if you weren't the guy, you were the sidekick to a bunch of guys.
So who's the guy? Where's the guy at? I mean, Adam Sandler could still do something, but he doesn't want to.
Well, I mean, apparently Happy Gilmore 2 is on the books, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. I doubt he's going to do Spaceman and go back and do Happy Gilmore 2, but if Netflix starts fucking backing up the Brinks truck and give him that Netflix money, he'll do it.
Yeah, certainly not before he does The Cobbler, too.
Or Uncut Gems.
Get our sequels in line,
the next
people.
Benny Sadafy comedy. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our episode. We want to thank you guys for joining us on episode 397. As always, check out our back catalog on MovieMavericks.com. We have reviews updated daily on there, and we can hear us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate, review, and like the show. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I'm Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!